Hello, parents. Well, here's your tip. Ask your child about their day. Now, let's switch this up a little bit when we're thinking about developing partnerships and relationships. In my opinion, one of the most important partnerships or relationships are the ones that you have with your children. I mean, these are the real to death do you part relationships. And for me, I like to look at things when I'm doing things and living life. I like to look at what's my goal. And my goal for this would be to develop long lasting lifetime relationships with my children. And so then when I'm looking at that, then I'm creating some steps on how do I get there? How do I make sure that I'm acting or doing things in a way that is going to get there. And so when you're asking your child about your day, here's some tips that you can use or some key stamping points that you can use on developing that conversation and that relationship. Be you. And more so in the aspect of build, engage, and understand. Be you. And so when you're talking to your child about their day, questions like, how was your day? That ain't gonna cut it. What did you learn today? Because think about it. You don't really want to know. You don't want to know about the strategy that they use or they learned for math, or the story that they were reading in English class and how they broke down the content and understood the plot and you don't want to know that. You don't. Like, you've been in school before, so you know what school is like. You know what learning is taking place. And quite honestly, you're going to get that information when they bring homework home, or you're going to open house or other school events because you've calendared it. You'll get that information. So instead, utilize this time to build and develop a communication and a relationship with your child. Now, you may not care about Terrence getting some new sneakers or Alexa getting a new hairdo, but they do. So take the time to engage in that conversation about their day. And so again, use these tips. If you're starting out or thinking about this, have this in your mind and using these tips on asking your child about their day. Build, engage, understand. Ask questions like, what made you laugh today? And then engage with them. That does sound really funny. But this is a no judgment communication and conversation, because if you insert judgment, you're for sure going to break the lines of communication. It's also not the time to insert discipline or correction. Now, you may see an area where discipline or correction is needed, and you may also see an area where you may have to add some input into the conversation. But remember, you're communicating and you're trying to build a relationship with your child. So use those thoughts when you are at the point of understanding. After you've built and you engage and now you're understanding, ask permission if you see a need for inserting your input or your correction. It's important to ask. Now, some of you may be turned off by the fact that I said ask your child for permission. Now, I understand that they're children and you're the adult, but that is not interpreted as they are less than. They are still people. And remember, in this instance, you are having a conversation. And so think about when you're having conversations with your friends or peers, you're not just inserting or disciplining or correcting in their actions and things of that nature. For the most part, you're asking for permission, because remember, when you're communicating with your children, they are inviting you into a space and inviting you into their life. And for anybody listening to this that has had children for a while, or when I say a while, like you have older children, it can get very difficult when your children get older to have a communication or be in their space. And so in some cases, you will do anything to be in that child's space because they're your child and they've gotten older. So the fact that they're inviting you into that space, I think that it's important to ask permission. So if you see an area for correction or area for input, then just say things like, do you mind if I give you some input? Chances are they're going to say yeah, because you're communicating with them in this aspect. But I think that it's fair to ask for that permission. Now, here's a disclaimer. If this is your first time doing this and you've not communicated with your child in this manner before, It will be a little shocking. It will take your child aback, and they may even be skeptical about the questions that you're asking or this form of communication, but that's okay. Any change is going to feel a little uncomfortable, but I suggest and I commend you for sticking to it and staying at it. And in all communication, in all aspects, remember to be you.